Good afternoon. Today, what we are going to discuss the the last slide of human resource management, right? So up to now, we have discussed a lot of HRM functions, but now what we are going to discuss about the final part of financial clients management, right? So we stopped. So we conclude to human resource management today, and from next week we are going to um, start the financial marketing, right? So, and if we have time, so we will do some past papers as well, right? If you have any time, so we'll do the past papers as well, right? Now let me start where we have left under financial client management, right? So the first topic what we are going to discuss, the discipline management. Another important area in HRM, discipline management, right? It is a fundamental functions of human resource management. So uh, discipline management defined as a systematic process of controlling and influencing all the employees in the organization, right? And to achieve organization goals and objectives. Now remember, all the functions of human resource management has a unique feature. What is that unique feature? Whatever the functions will do, what is ultimate motive? Achieve organization goals and objectives, right? Now under employee discipline management, and we are doing so, employees were requested to behave in compliance with established rules and code of conduct in order to achieve the desired goals of the organization, right? So how you as an employee uh, need to behave in falling line with your organized compliances with established rules and code of conduct, right? That is employee discipline management. Now, why it is important for an organization, and that's the important thing. Why discipline management is important. Now, main purpose of employee discipline management is to ensure that, as explained to you, employees conform to norms or standards of behavior at work of, for attainment of organizational goals, right? And thereby reduce the conflicts and confusion, right? If you want, just add to that, to reduce conflicts and confusions. That is the one of the reason, right? To reduce conflict and confusion, you can add under that. So the second importance is making an organized activity efficient and effective manner, right? So that means, if you want to put that also, you can say to achieve the objectives and goals of the organization. That's another important thing why we need to have discipline, right? To achieve organization goals and objectives. And how we're going to do it in efficient and effective manner. Third importance, employee moral and industrial peace. Now we are going to discuss little later on under industrial relationship. We call industrial peace. In singular, we call karmika samya. I will explain to you what is industrial peace later on, right? So, so therefore, employee morale and industrial peace are definitely linked with the proper maintenance of discipline, right? And that's an important thing. So you see, so that means basically to control and manage human resource in an orderly manner. That's the important so objective of the discipline management, right? So the next one, discipline is a very essential for healthy industrial atmosphere. Now everybody need to follow the rules and regulation, code of conduct established by the institution. Now, for bankers, when you join the bank, so you get a code of conduct. They will explain to you how to behave in the organization, sometimes how to trust in the organization, like that. So it's essential for healthy industrial atmosphere, right? So that means that is basically employee behaviors in accordance with performance standards, right? And rules and regulations of the organization. And proper employee discipline also will lead to absence of disorders, irregularities in the behavior. So usually, if you are not have any discipline now, like in your bank, sometimes you have operational manual. It's a book, right? Operational manual tells you how to do your conduct your businesses. Give you guidelines. Operational value give you guidelines how to conduct your business. Like that, we have a discipline manual also. So it will tells you how to behave, right? If orderly manner and with a regulatory, it confined with rules and regulation. And remember the important of discipline. So it promotes self-discipline. Promote self-discipline. We know if you do wrong thing, if you done a bad thing, if you misbehavior, there may be a punishment. So therefore, we try to behave ourselves well. So that is what you call promote self-discipline. So therefore, uh, there's a many reasons why you need to behave uh, in an organization. That is why we have a discipline function, discipline management function. Now, what we have discussed up to now, we discussed what is discipline management. Second, why or importance of discipline management for an organization. Now, third one, we are going to discuss a little bit of, right, the things like that. What are the type of offenses? Huh? Visamachari Kriya. අපි කිව්ව සිංහලේ විසමාචාරී ක්‍රියා. Alright? Now, while you're working, sometimes you may have some serious offense and unserious offense. Sulu විසමාචාර සහ බරපතල විසමාචාර. Now, based on that, your punishments or your actions will be different by the management. Right? Now, say for an example, uh, so it should be other way around, right? You have to change it. So you have to change it. You cut serious, and in front of that you put unserious, right? Under the second point you put unserious, so you cut none there, right? And it's wrongly put it, right? So serious in the sense the top one you have to add word non-serious, whereas the second point is serious, you delete non-serious, right? Okay. Now let's look at it. What are the for an example? Now say for example, you see they have identified. Now, if you are not listening to, if you are not carried out your superior's instruction, remember it is a serious offense that called insubordination. If your boss you about to tell you, you need to do that. But as far as the official things, right? So that is what we call serious, right? Otherwise called insubordination. Now say for an example, a security guy. For example, use a security guy. Now security guy, what is his job? To look after the organization. Now while he's doing your job, he is sleeping. So it's a serious. I will say for an example, another one. So person come to office every day late. The person come to office every day late. So that is a serious offense, right? But occasionally they come late, it is a non-serious, but it still is a serious, it is an offense, but it's not so serious, right? Because coming to office beyond the normal standard time is also an offense, but occasionally there may be a non-serious, but continuously it's not coming, it's a serious offense. I just give you an example for serious and non-serious, right? Now, say for an example, you are hitting somebody while you're working. So that also serious, right? Now, suppose you hit somebody outside the organization, sometimes it may be not serious because it's nothing to do with the organization. If you do something within your working, while you're working, that is serious, right? So therefore, you can identify the the offenses like serious and non-serious. But usually for non-serious activities, you first warn by the verbal warning, written warning, and things like that. But so the offense is very serious, you can be demoted or maybe you can dismiss, right? So that is depend on your seriousness of the offense. The punishment is there. Now, example I can quote from you. Now, there's a famous call, red hot stove. A red hot stove. I just explained to you, right? Just to understand purpose. What do you mean by red hot stove? REDSTOVE stove, right? Red stove. So, what is red stone? Ratu idunu niyaya. Ratu uduna niyaya. Single කියන්නේ red hot stove, right? Right. Now අපි හිතමු it's like this. Then ඔන්න උදුනක් තියෙනවා, right? Like our, right? Then අපි අත දානවා මේ කස්සට. If you put inside the stove, what happen? Right? උදුන හුඟක් රත් වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් අත පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි. Right? Okay? So that means punishment also high based on the amount of heatness. Then if it's not so hot, so your damage may be less. So therefore the punishment for that also change. That is why we call red hot stove theory. Red RED රත්තු සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ රත්තු උදුන න්‍යාය. රත්තු උදුනකට අපි අත දැම්මොත් ඒ උදුනේ රත් වෙන ප්‍රමාණය අතුව ඇති වෙන ඩැමේජ් එක අනුව punishment එක වෙනස්. Right? Something like that. Okay, so that's a HR concept we call red dot stove about the seriousness. Now, you just write down, right? Factors that affect the determining the severity. Now, how you determine the severity? Severity of your offense, right? Now, you can just put down in the same topic, same that slide, factors that affect the determining the severity of offense, right? First point is nature of the offense. Nature of the offense, right? Nature of offense. Is a serious or non-serious? Nature of the offense. Second, number of previous offenses. Number of previous offenses. Now say you have given a verbal warning, writing warning earlier, but you are continuously do the same offense. So then your severity may varies. Third point, the nature of the offense. Continuously parakila. That's a nature, right? So those are some of the and also we will look at it period of services, how long you have been working. So these are some of the factors we need to consider. Suppose you are so senior person, so he do continuously, that means so seriousness is there, right? So factors that affect in determining the severity or non-severity maybe depends on nature of the offense, number of previous offenses, nature of the offense, and period of your services. There are so many factors, right? Okay, now honestly in your subject we don't want to go for such extreme, but at least you know what is discipline management, why it is important, what are the type of offenses, things like that. Right. Now usually you may heard there's a discipline process. So if you've done something wrong, there's a way of addressing that issue, right? So that is comes under disciplinary process. That is the first. Sometimes the examiner may ask you, briefly explain the process of disciplinary, right? Now here you can say process of disciplinary, or you can say you can delete disciplinary process of discipline, delete that process of cut, and they say disciplinary process, right? First one, the oral warning stage. Now, the first thing is you're giving a warning. Somebody is coming every day late, right? Or something. You give him a oral warning. Again, වාචික අවවාද. Ensure clarity that actions to be taken and written record is kept on the action taken and the responses received. Right? අපි සටහන් කරගන්න ඕනේ. Right? We need to note it down. First, oral warning stage. Right. Second, so if you are not listening to, if you do the same offense over and over again, despite your oral warning, so then what happens? So you give it in writing, and in the and you can continue the disciplinary procedure from this stage. Right? For that letter, how you put it? ඔබට මීට කලින්ද වාචිකව සඳහන් කර පරිදි ඔබ මේ වැරද්ද තවදුරටත් සිදු කරන බව පෙනේ. So despite the fact of the oral warning given by me on such a day for that particular incident, you will continue to do the same mistake or to do the offense. So then you give it in writing, first writing, right? First writing. Then, okay, then you can give another writing, right? Still you have. Then now you say, despite my verbal, then the third stage you come, final written stage. That means you say, despite my oral warning and my written communication to you on such a day, still you are not rectifying mistakes or rectify your error. So therefore, right, and it's become a serious offense. The first stage then, and then what happens? You're going to take some disciplinary actions against it. So you will ask before at the final stage, if you have done anything, if you want to clarify, ඔබට යමක් කිවීමට තිබෙනවා දින 7ක් ඇතුළත පිළිතුරු සපයන්න. Right? If not, we are going to conduct an inquiry against you. Right? And then, so then you have a proper action. Right? So then only you go for disciplinary hearing. For that is a law procedure. You was asked to someone for a interview. You can get some, suppose if the UD is there, UD support, you can get somebody, and there's a formal inquiry procedures, right? And at the inquiry stage, if you found guilty, management can take some appropriate action, either to dismiss, or either to demoted, or either to stop your bonuses or whatever, some decision based on hearing, right? But these are the four ways stage. First one, oral warning stage, first written stage, final written stage, and misconduct stage. And there only you are going to take some actions. Okay, so that is the disciplinary process we talk about, right? Okay, from that we stop disciplinary management, right? Because it's a lengthy one, but you need to understand all the very fundamental things about discipline management, right? Now remember, the discipline management is the management take actions against the employee if you are not falling in line with the required standard or required rules and regulation, or basically code of conduct, right? Okay, now you understood disciplinary management, right? Now we are moving to the next another important HR function is what you call the labor management relationship framework. Right. Now, before that, I'm just going to explain to you what is labor relation. Right? In your same slide, please write down this definition. Please write down these definitions, right? What is labor relation? What is labor relation? Just keep this one and write down somewhere else in the same tube this. What is labor relation? Right? Okay, are you ready? Now I will dictate. Now please write down in your paper, right? Okay. Sorry. What is labor relation? Right? Now within bracket you can say LR, capital LR. Then you write down LR refers to a LR refers to a LR refers to a continuous relationship. Labor relations, so LR refers to a sorry, continuous relationship between labor and management. So what is labor relation? It's a continuous relationship between two parties. What are the two parties? Management and the labor in an organization, right? So you can write under that, what are the objective of labor relation, right? Write down something this also. Objective of labor relation. Right now you know what is labor relation. It is a relationship between, it's a continuous relationship between labor and the management of an organization. It's a relationship between labor and the management. That is labor relation. What is objective? First one, right? But if you have a better relationship with management and labor, what is promoting? Yeah, promote, to create and promote industrial peace. I will tell you what you mean by industrial peace. To create and promote industrial peace. Promote, create and promote industrial peace and induce democracy and induce democracy, right? Induce democracy. Second one, to maintain and sound cordial relationship between labor and the management, right? To maintain and sound cordial relationship between management and the labor. Now, as a result, what happened? So it improve the organizational productivity. Why? Because if you have a better relationship with the organization, management and the labor, there's no any conflicts and there's no strikes, nothing happen. They work, they improve their morale and they work very hard and thereby improve the productivity. Right? Okay, so these are the uh, some of the good things about having a labor relationship. Right? Now, remember, if you don't have a better relationship between labor and the management, what happened? So there may be a decline in employee morale and damages to organization, and then the productivity comes down, labor turnover there, absenteeism, job stress, a lot of issues are facing because of that. So therefore, it is paramount important to have a better relationship with between employees and the management, right? Employees management, or something we call labor management, right? Now you understand what you mean by labor relation, and now you learn about what are the objectives of labor relations. Clear? Now what we are going to discuss now, labor management relationship framework. right? Labor managementship. There are three parties to that. Now I will explain to you. There are three parties. Now just look at it. What are these three parties? It's like small this thing, right? Now say, okay, this is three parties, right? Now three parties. What are the three parties? One side is the employer, right? Employer. Here the employee. Or employee maybe represent maybe the union, and this is the government, right? Three parties. If you want, you just wrote down this, right? Now you noted that objective of different parties are there, different objectives. Now what employer is trying to achieve? Get the work done from him maximum, right? So what are the, because these three parties is having different objectives, right? Okay, now these parties is having different objectives. Okay, these parties may have different objectives. Okay, oh, something wrong. uh, okay, uh, right, these parties have different objectives, right? Now let's look at it. What are the objective of an employer? What are the objective of an employer, right? Their job is to maximize the efficiency of the work, right? So try to get maximum from the employee, and also try to minimize his cost, get the work done at a reduced cost. And also their objective is to seek prestige, maximize profitability, right? And also what they're expecting, trade union support the workers works done efficiently and effective. That means you are requesting employee to work hard to get efficiently and effective. So that is the objective of employee. Then there may be objective from employees as well, from employee or the trade union. So obtaining their job security, right? So that is what the employee expectation. Then also not only that, maximize their earnings in terms of salary or maybe bonuses or whatever benefits. Maximize the benefit. And also satisfaction from the job. That is what the employee or union is expecting while they are working, right? Okay, there are two parties. So each there are three parties are expecting to fulfill their own objective. Then the third guy is called the government. Now, what is government is want? They want smooth run between these two parties, right? They want smooth function of these three parties, right? Okay. Now, what the government want? Now you see now there are objective from government, there's an objective from employees, and there's an objective from employees, right? Each three parties must have a better relationship, right? Sometimes for this we call them as tri-party relationship. Tri-party relationship triangle, triangle, right? Triangle. Sometimes in technically we call tri-party relationship triangle, right? Now, what is the final expectation of this? Final expectations of these three parties is what you call industrial peace, right? If you have a better relationship between these three parties, government, employer, employees, or union, they're represented, to have a better relationship. God. Now say why government is worried about if they don't have a better relations up here? Because then there may be a dispute, and it may economically impact the government activities. Sometimes the government need to be interfere, right? So that is why government expectation, there's a better relationship between these two, and they're expecting a better relationship with government like that. So that is finally we call them as industrial rights. So that is what you call LMR, labor management relationship framework, right? Framework. So that creates the industrial piece of Kirameka signaling Karmika Samya, right? I hope you understood what is that. Clear? Right. Okay. Now let's moving to from this point, right? Okay. Clear, understood. Now it is an extension of labor relationship, right? So what we discuss, what is labor relation, and it is a continuous relationship between management and the trade with the labor, right? And that is labor relation. Why we need to have a labor relation is that. And then we discuss the tri-party arrangement between government, employer and employee, because every organization, every party has its own objectives. So everybody is trying to achieve their objectives. What happened? There may be a conflict taking place between these three parties, right? If you have a very well disciplined or very well understanding of the relationship, so there's nothing happen. So that is what you call industrial peace, right? Industrial peace. Okay, right? Okay, having understood that, now you see now today a lot of banks, a lot of organizations having trade unions. Those are trade unions are different. For banks, you have party-related trade unions. We have Sri Lanka Nidhas Union, and then Jatika Sevaka Sangha, which is related to the UN. And you have a Samasta Lanka Bank, CBU, right? Like JVP related, that independence, right? That there may be a lot of trade unions in the banking sector, right? Now, remember the trade union is a legal entity. If you fulfill certain requirement, if you have a certain number of membership, an organization need to consider as a formal entity, right? There may be a informal, but you may not take into account. But once you form it, and it's a trade union, therefore could be considered as what? As a formal entity. And who are the representative can be of employees, right? Now, what is the trade union main objective or main purpose is to look after protecting and also enhancing the well-being of their members, that means their employees, right? So some of the objectives of trade unions are, and their main objective, protect employees from illegal action. That's a one advantage, right? Okay. And then improve the health and safety of employees, right? And not only that, lot of things trade unions objectives or the trade union job is to protect only their employees. No, that is where some people are thinking wrong. Trade union is one of the objective or maybe some advantage. They need to be assist the management to improve the business performance. It's a job of trade union. While they are protecting their members, well-being of their members, preventing the health and the safety, not to take any illegal actions and things like that, and look at it from their welfare facilities. But at the same time, the trade union job is to assist the management to smooth functioning of the organization, and not only that, and improve the business performances. Remember that, right? Improve the business performances. right? So therefore, trade union can be considered as therefore an agency function, right? It's an agency function, right? Uh, and also they can use uh, uh, bring some discipline also, right? Trade union is not going to come and protect a person, employee who did wrong thing in the organization, right? So trade union are not representing. They are not supposed to represent it. But but it is the management take from illegal or illicit illegal actions, then trade union can. Otherwise, they cannot interfere, right? But these are good things and the bad things, right? Now, sometimes trade union bad side is they may conduct some, create uh, some what you call that political motivation, right? So they come up with some unfair demand where the banks or organizations cannot afford. So there may be an unfair demand, there may be a politically motivated actions, and there may be strikes, and that's all ultimately introduced to the damage and the reduce the productivity of the organization. And also remember, now trade unions are sometimes me against. Now people now today we are going for performance based remuneration system, right? You know that, right? We discussed little while ago. So the trade union actions may come for performance based, but they can't come to a conclusion, but it's a good thing. Performance based remuneration system to one way assist management to improve the business performances, right? So these are some of the trade union explanation, right? Now, why employees join trade union? That's another issue. Huh? Why employees are joining trade unions? What reasons they join trade unions? Okay, why they join trade unions? For various reasons. One, if if their organization, right, uh, to not handle the employees' grievances promptly and correctly, and people or employees try to find solution through the trade union. Now, grievances we are going to discuss little late now another 15 minutes or 10 minutes from here. What is grievances management and all? So the management not handle the grievances of the employees. They may join union. Through the unions, they try to influence the management. Rather than working alone, if we join the union, and union have a better voice than person who is talking individual. So if you have a better grievances handling procedure in the organization, there may be a not joining the trade union. Second one, took after their interests. So to protect themselves sometimes, some to protect themselves, right? Uh, People may join the trade union, and sometimes trade unions. Why they join? Because they are political, ideological affiliation. Now, say for an example, we'll say we have a JSS, that means Jatika Sevaka Sangha, where now I don't know what happened, right? Uh, so that is because you are personally very strong candidate for UNP. So automatically, once you come to the work, you join the trade union, not any other thing. Because you are a UNP or SLFE guy, so you join that particular trade union. That's another reason. That's called political ideological affiliation, right? So another one. So if you are not satisfied with the terms and conditions of your employment, you may join union. Through the union, you try to get some benefits, right? And another one also, right? So some people are not working at all, not working, right? Now management going to take action for them. Right now, say for an example, usually the employee, particular employee, not working, or maybe you may involving in some unauthorized things. Now, as an employer, you know now you are going to file actions, so get uh, some return from the management. Before that something happened, you join the trade union and give you some sort of a protection. But that is not a good thing, right? To safeguard yourself. So you may join trade union, nothing else. But the last one you can say, some people, they want uh, to talk behalf of your employees, and so common interest to get together. So that is why some people are joint trade. So therefore, there may be reasons of your employees to join trade union, right? Okay, there may be reasons as to why the employees join trade union. Clear? Right. If your organization not handling grievances properly, look after their interests, personal interests, due to political, ideological affiliation, dissatisfactions, some attitude differences, because before you are going for a victimization, if you are not doing well, you know they are going to something going to come against you, so you will look after the trade union. When you join a trade union, the management uh, have to think twice, because there is other people also get involved there, right? Okay, so that is why trade union. And this is another simple HR function, like through the trade union, they may have a collective bargaining. That means the process in which employer and trade union meet and discuss and attempt to negotiate the working conditions and terms of employment. Especially for government banks, state banks, right? All the unions have every 3 years they are going to revise their salary, and during that time they may have a collective bargaining. A union asking for salary increments, other benefits, medical benefits, bonuses, whatever you call, and to be discussed with management. And that process we call collective bargaining. Right? Both parties need to come to a certain uh, conclusion, and then sometimes it has some legal framework. uh, Legal framework once you agree for certain. That process is called collective bargaining. Right. Now we are going to discuss another important area, and sometimes so far I have not seen much direct questions on this area, but it's an important area. Now earlier we discussed discipline management. Earlier we discussed discipline management. So what is discipline management? Discipline management means the management take actions against the employee. So what is grievances in that? That means employee take actions against the management, right? Why? So therefore, grievances uh, uh, can be he feels that employee feels some personal injustice to him, right? So that what's happened basically for grievances, right? Now, before I explain to you what is detail, what is grievances, you can write down some simple definition, right? Some simple definition somewhere in your tute. You just down. I will dictate a simple definition, right? The same thing, but more very simple manner. So, if for you to understand, please write down. You can write grievance is grievance is any real or grievance is any real or REL, any real or imaging feeling of imaging IMAGINED. Grievance is any real or imaging feeling of. So the grievance can be taken place two ways. One, real or imaging feeling of personal injustice. Of personal injustice. Personal injustice. පුද්ගලිකව තමාට සිදු අසාධාරණ. Personal injustice. Personal injustice. Comma, which an employee has, which an employee has, which an employee has, which an employee has, comma, concerning his, CONCERING, concerning his, concerning his employment relationship. Concerning his employment relationship. Concerning his employment relationship. The same one, right? I know more or less very simple. Now I will explain to you to understand what is grievances. Now while you are working, ඔයා වැඩ කරගෙන ඉන්නකොට සමහර වෙලාවට ඔයාට හිතනවා මට කලමනාකාරීත්වය මට පුද්ගලිකව අයුතුකමක් අසාධාරණකමක් සිදු වෙනවා කියලා. කලමනාකාරීත්වය. Right? Right? අන්න එකට තමයි grievance කියන්නේ. Grievances කියන්නේ දුක් ගැන. Right? Grievances. Sometimes ඇත්තට මෙහෙම වෙනවා ඇති. සමහර වෙලාවට ඔයා එහෙම වෙනවා කියලා හිතනවා. Both way you can have the grievances. That is why called any real or imagining feeling of. Now say this topic, a grievance is any discontent or sense of injustice expressed or not felt by an employee in connection with his employment in the organization. That is why I give you a more simple definition. Therefore, what is grievances? Any real or imagining feeling. Real ඇත්තටම සිදු වෙන නැත්නම් මට මේව වෙනවා කියලා මම හිතන personal injustice පුද්ගලිකව සිදු වන අයුතුකමක් මගේ concerning my employment relations රැකියා සම්බන්ධතාවයේදී වල ඇති වෙන දේ. Now you know what is grievances, right? As I told you, that is you grievances is basically you're not happy, right? You feel it. දැන් සමහර වෙලාවට ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියනවා දැන් අපි කියනවා දැන් ගෙදරක ෆැමිලි එකක් ඉන්නකොට අම්මා මට වැඩිය අම්මා ලොකු අක්කට ලොකු පුතාට පුංචි මල්ලිට සලකනවා. එහෙම නැහැ. නමුත් සමහරට ඉව ඇත්ත වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඔයාට හිතෙනවා අම්මා වැඩිපුරම සලකන්නේ පොඩි මල්ලිට ලොකු අයියට. එහෙනම් මම හිතනවා තුන්වෙනි අවශ්‍යයෙන් වැඩ ඉන්න එක්කෙනා අවශ්‍යයි. That is my grievances. සමහරට එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් නමුත් එහෙම නොවෙන්නේ නැත්නම් හැබැයි but I feel it. So that is grievances. Right? So therefore in organization there may be a lot of issues like that. You feel it. There are 6 people work together. reporting to the one boss, you feel it. My boss is has some අර දින සමහර අර මාව අල්ලන්නේ boss මට කැමති නෑ. So you feel it. සමහර boss දන්නෙත් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But you feel it. Right? That is grievances. So why it is important for an organization? Huh? Right? It is very important. Because why? HR is people management. So suppose if people are suffering from grievances or employees are suffering from grievances, right? It is very difficult for them to, them to work hard. We can expect from their best. So ultimately what happened, they are not work efficiently and effectively, so because of the employee grievances, they may leave the organization again like earlier. There will be a lot of impact, right? So right. Now why it is important, as I told you. Now here you have to delete massive grievance, right? You have to delete massive and put simple. And you start with why grievances handling in your hand down. We said massive grievance no. So you have delete massive and you put simple, word simple, delete massive and put simple grievances may be a potential source of massive problem for organization. If you are not handle your grievances, very simple grievance, it's going to be accumulated and then it become a massive problem for organization. Right? අර මොකෙන්ද අර පොත් මොකෙන්ද කඩා දාන්න ඕන එක ගහක් කපලා දානවා වගේ වැඩක් වෙනවා. Right? So that is why, because it's one time your grievances will boil and it become a massive problem for your organization. Second, so dissatisfaction of one, even though you noted from one person, but it can be a entire dissatisfaction. You identify only from one person, so it's a sample of population, right? You may identify only from one person, but it may be same as others, right? And then what happened? To have the grievances, it creates conflicts with the management, right? Around, right? So as a result, what happened? Low productivity, absenteeism, turnover, low effectiveness and efficiency. So that is why we need to manage your grievances. The examiner can ask you like this: what is grievances and why it is important for an organization? Right? Got the clear things. Right. Now the next point. What are the grievances? What are the causes of grievances? මේ දුක්ගැනවිලි ඇතිවෙන්න පුළුවන් කාරණා මොනවද? What makes you to be happy, not happy person? Causes for grievances. Okay, let's now try to understand what are the causes for relating to the job. What are the causes for relating to the job, right? Okay, let's look at it now. What are the causes? What causes relating to the job? Now, what do you that? Job, can you remember? It's a building block of a task, right? Remember, right? What is job? So therefore, maybe you may not competent enough. Can you remember last week we discussed? You need some competency to perform job. You need some skills. You need some attitudes. You need some knowledge to perform your job. Suppose if you're not having that required competency, but you can give training and develop, but still you can't do, that means you are not competent enough to perform your job. Or maybe not having given any proper training. Or maybe your job designs you may be taken the wrong person to perform that job. So that because of you cannot perform your job is very stressful, you don't know how to do it, and then the job become grievance. So grievances therefore taking place because of the job. Second point, causes relating to the working condition. So always you're working in a bad night shift. Suppose you are a guy, you are a newly married person. You was every time your job time is between 2 to 10 o'clock, or maybe 3 to 10 o'clock, or 12 o'clock, all night shift. What happened? So you have some problem. But you can't, newly married person can't go home, but you have to work during the night time. So therefore, the relating to the working conditions, or sometimes, right? So you need to work under hazardous conditions, and you don't have a better relationship. Your boss is always fighting, and your colleagues are on good terms with you. So poor relationship, or maybe the boss's leadership style, more arrogant, more more autocratic type rather than democratic. So those are the working conditions. So everything is good, but boss leadership style I'm not tolerate. I don't have a cordial relationship with my peers. So those are working conditions. The causes related to working condition can create grievances. Right? Third one. Right. Now, third point, due to personal management divisions, right? So your promotion. So I'll be here for the last so many years. I have not got any promotion. I was transferred from every time. I can't. My HR department is not allowing me to work in one place. They will be transferring me from one place to another place, transfer for division to division, branch to branch, and distance wise. Uh, I don't have any leave. My salary is not enough. I can't live with this salary. All problem because of HR issues. So that rising grievances because of that can cause issue. Three reasons we identify related to the job, related to the working conditions, and or maybe relating to your personal issues. So personal divisions issues, right? Then sometimes, right, causes relating to the alleged violation, right? And you were actions taken against you, some disciplinary actions taken against you, maybe some violations of rules procedure. You become a naughty fellow in your organization. So you are frustrated. You are having grievances, right? Sometimes due to you are maybe a genuine guy, but actions taken against you without having any proof, right? And that is due to alleged violation. The next point is causes relating to inappropriate personal behavior, right? Sometimes you have some superiority complex, so you behave in a totally different way. You don't want to listen to what the boss is telling. You can't tolerate what others are. Sometimes you are over ambitious. You not satisfied with your current job. You want to do more, right? You say I can do a lot of better job than. Sometimes some people are telling I can even do my boss's job. So that is over ambitious, right? I am not fitting to this job like that. So that is causes relating to the inappropriate personal behavior. That is your own issues, right? So because of these five reasons can create grievances, right? Okay. Now, as I told you, this no question asked up to now from this section, right? But can ask, right? Now, as your boss, now that is why we need to have a better organizational, better methodology, right? It is important for organizations to have it, right? Now, how do you identify? What are the techniques you have it to identify or understand the grievances? Now, important one is exist interviews. What do you mean by exist interview? Now, exist interviews like this. Suppose you are leaving the organization. Now you are gave resignation. You gave resignation. So you are leaving the organization. Suppose you are in the branch. Then your HR guys calls you and asks why you are leaving. And he tells you all the grievances. මම සර් මේ බැංකුවට ආසයින්ද මේ බොස් එක්ක ඉන්න බෑනේ ඒ විදිහට තියෙන්නේ පිස්සු මාගේ පස්සෙන් මේනවා මට suppose a girl can tell no I can't deal with this my boss I have so many times I complained but nothing actions take nothing happened so I can't for he asked me to work till night I have to look after my baby boss that is now exist interviews tell you the problems why I leave, all the problems, all the grievances is going to tell because අර යන එකක් උරහක් දිලා යනවා වගේ ඔක්කොම කියලා යනවා. Right? While you work, you can't tell because he will take some actions against you. Right? Or you can carry out some surveys. Right? Okay. And also you can carry out some formal procedure systems, complaint suggestion systems. And also boss can watch you, observe. Now you are totally different. You work very hard. There's something happens. Now you are not come to office regularly, not work properly. And sometimes we'll ask, ළඟදී දැන් මට දැකලා තියෙනවා ඔයා හරියට වෙනස් වෙලා ඔයා ඉස්සරතර වැඩ කරන්නේ වෙලාවට එන්නේ නිය අඩු ගන්නවා so what is the reason so those are observations right so you can just ask the grievances right? Sometimes maybe some people are leave due to pregnancy issues also, right? They may have some grievances. They can't go to work like that, personal reason, right? Okay. So next, so what are how to handle it? Now, how to handle? How to handle the grievances? What actions? Sometimes organization must establish a formal grievances settlement procedure. Now, I think you are going to learn once you go to DABF and also something already learned something what you call whistleblowing. I think you heard about the concept called whistleblowing concept. What is whistleblowing concept? Now, you will promote, that is under corporate governance, you will promote employees to communicate with the management in a formal manner if your boss saw something irregularities or something illegal unwanted things happen in the organization you are put officially informed to the management ඒ කියන්නේ නීත්‍යානුකූලව කියලා කියනවා අනිත් පැත්තෙන් නේද that is called whistleblowing why because you're creating the environment people to inform about the bad thing that is called what whistleblowing like that so you must have a formal grievances settlement procedure established procedure by the management so that will communicate to the employee if you have any problems any grievances due to all these causes you can complain to so and so there's a procedure established so management will take all this procedure right and step by step approach right and try to sort it out your grievance now remember there are some principles where you are handling any grievances what are the principles principles like this right now when the employee comes to talk about some grievances and you need to be actively listen to him right actively listen to you pay attention get all the information pertaining to you and discuss with the grievant, collect information, right? And listen attentively. That's the most important. And build up the confidence of the grievant. So you are really going to address this issue. Then only the grievance settlement procedures work. Otherwise, it's not. That's a one. Establish formal procedure. Second one, open door policy. What do you mean open door policy? Now, even for your CEO or maybe your DJ, whoever, have an open door. You can just walk into his room, or sometimes the CEO will have allocate one day or Friday or Mahajanata Hambuda Dinawal ministers like this. So CEO can say, okay, you can come anytime to tell your grievances to me. Open door policy. Or maybe you have a committee approach, counseling, ombudsman, right? So we have a financial ombudsman to discuss our grievances like that. Or maybe you may be mixed method. So there are different methods, right? There is a quasi method also. So some legal impact methodology, some informal method of collecting, right? So these are the methods available for you to have. And the best strategy for grievances is what? The best strategy is let grievant to talk and listen. That's the important thing, right? Or whatever the method. Okay, right. So we just now discussed the grievances handling process. All are functions of HR, right? Okay, so all are the functions of HR. So we now almost completed almost all the functions carried out by HR department, from starting from job design, job analysis, right there, recruitment, selection, hiring, induction, performance appraisal, training, right? Then what else? Right? What else? Then discipline management, labor relationship, grievance management, and things like that, right? And there's another small area I need to put here, what you call, you just say, sometimes you can say uh, employee movements, write down a small note on that. Employee movements, right? Employee movements, another small area. Employee movements, MOVEMENTS, employee movements. So how can you employ move? Movement is control employees. How can you do it? One way you can move employee movements, right? Some small heading, employee movements. So tell me, how can you do move employee movement? One thing is promotion, right? So promote employee, maybe upgrade of lateral promotion or vertical promotion, right? You put him to the upper position or same position, but you can give more power. So you can transfer for a lateral promotion, but same post, but laterally promoted. That's the promotion. Then second way you can employ movements is transfers. Transfers. TRANSF, transfer. Movement. Now, sometimes that is the organization policy. Manager cannot work for one branch for more than 5 years. You will transfer another branch. Or maybe the divisions. Now, different banks have some policies. So you are not keeping, after 3 years, you may compulsory transport to another division or maybe a branch like that. That is sometimes the policy decisions. Sometimes you create a transfer work and create. There's a work in create in a particular branch. So you will transfer with the personal request. you have some problem with your health or having a baby or all, so you are transfer. So therefore, employee movement can take place: one, promotion; second, transfers. Third method is layoff. Layoff. That is what you call. Sometimes transfer due to disciplinary measures, right? Okay. Sometimes maybe discipline. That is right. Right. And also layoff mean basically uh, maybe due to due to some economic issues like this coronavirus, and people are must move from your organization, right? Layoff can take, or sometimes demotion. Demotion can take place. You are put down, not the promotion, demotion due to some disciplinary action, right? Demotion, right? Okay, so therefore, employee movements can be take place from promotions, transfers, layoff, demotions, right? Due to various reasons, right? Now, transfers may be disciplinary actions, right? It's a policy of organization like that. Okay, right. So that part also we are slightly cover. If any questions asked, to answer that. Right. Now we are moving to another area. What is called is a knowledge management. Right. Okay. Now some extra things you need to learn. Knowledge management. Right. Now, now what is knowledge management? And actually, it is recognized as the fundamental activity, right? For what? For obtaining, growing, and sustaining intellectual capital in a financial institution, right? So, if you want to improve your intellectual capital, so you to improve, you need to manage your capital, right? So, those things you need knowledge, you need to carry it out internally and externally. You can getting knowledge. One way you can improve your knowledge through what? Training and develop, right? So you can obtain your knowledge while you're working, right? So improve your knowledge. It will contribute to the organization to achieve the organization objective, right? So knowledge management therefore play an important role, and it is considered to be a intellectual capital in a financial institution. So, what is the main functions of knowledge management? Improve intellectual capital in financial institution. Right? Now remember that, right? Okay, right. Now we're going to look at it. What are the right? Okay, next. And also it is an HRM practices, right? And it is a duty of HR to develop the competency. So therefore, develop the knowledge, and through that only you can get competitive advantage for organization. That means competitive advantage means where your competitor is not having. Your employees are very well source of creating a competitive advantage. Why? So we call them. So we have a talented, knowledgeable workforce compared with Bank B. Bank A is a strength. Why? Knowledge staff. How can you build up knowledge? Various ways. One way is training, providing opportunity, empowering them. There are a lot of ways. Huh? So it is a job of HR. So remember, so it will motivate employees to create, to obtain a competitive edge for the organization. right? So we discuss likewise earlier what we create intellectual capital in a financial institution. So then the examiner can ask from you, what are the type of intellectual capital in a financial institution? So knowledge management, try to improve your intellectual capital. So what is intellectual capital then? Collectively is called them as value of an institution and the competitiveness of an institution. Why you say your institution is better than other institutions? So that means your intellectual capital is very high. Right. Let's look at it, the component of intellectual capital. There are three types of intellectual capital for an organization. One is the relationship capital. One is we consider as a relationship capital, right? We call them as a relationship capital, right? So what do you mean by the relationship capital? And the relationship in an institution entertain with external parties. That is a relationship with your clients, your partners, your vendors, with other stakeholders. That is what you call relationship capital. So that the organization have a very good relationship. Whoever they're dealing with very well with your customers, dealing with very well with every stakeholders. That is relationship capital. The සමහරවිට අපි කියන්නේ මචං මේ is a networking guy. කවුත් එක්ක ගියොත් කොහොම හරි දැන් අපි සමහර employees ලා ඉන්නවා, right? You know, so when you go outside they create people. කොහේ ගියත් සෙට් වෙනවා කට්ටියත්. අපි කියන සෙට් වෙනවා. ගියනවා තව 20ක් විතර එකතු කරගන්න. That is his relationship skill. It's a capital, right? Okay, relationship capital. Second one comes under intellectual capital is human capital. And knowledge and the competencies residing for your employees. That is a human capital. We have a talented people, human capital. Relationship capital, human capital. Third capital we call organizational capital, right? And that you mean by that is collective know-how. So that is beyond the capabilities of individuals employed. We have a better information system. We have a better policies established in the organization, right? We have a very well procedures established. Whatever we do it to the standard. So that is your organizational capital. So every organization is trying to develop these three type of capital. Relationship capital, then you look at it, the second capital is a human and organizational capital. If you improve these three capital, human, organizational, and the relationship, you improve the intellectual capital for an organization. Through the knowledge management, you are trying to improve your these three capital, right? And this is something you need to know in HR. It is a job of HR to develop knowledge management. Knowledge management is a part and parcel of HR. That is the contemporary or new functions of human resource management. Right? It is a duty to improve your intellectual capital. It is a duty of HR. Right? Okay. I think you understood that part as well. Clear up to that? I think no question. So I give you a little more knowledge about your HR. Right? Okay. So remember HR department now you can see to be a very important role, playing a very important role in your organization. right? Okay, now let's look at it. Employee management. Now, legal aspects of human resources, right? Now, you see, there are a lot of acts passed by the parliament or statutes regarding the employee welfare, regarding the employees' welfare. At least you need to know not much, at least few of this. It's a very famous act is we call Employees Provident Fund, Act number 15 of 1955, 1958. I think every employee who are working for an organization, you must have a EPF, right? So we are going to discuss little later on. Employee Provident Fund. Second one, Employee Trust Fund. Those are the two superannuation funds covered under Shop and Office Act, right? Employee Provident Fund Act, Employee Trust Fund Act. Then you must have Payment of Gratuity Act, Shop and Office Employee Act, Wages Board Ordinance, Terminations of Employment, and Industrial Disputes Act. Can you remember we discussed the relation? At least if the examiner asks from you, name 3 Employees Welfare Act, at least you need to know at least 2-3 things you need to write, at least 2. Employees Provident Fund, EPF, ETF, terminations of employment, right? Industrial dispute, wage board ordinance, the salary, and shop office employees, right? At least you need to know very briefly. At least you know the right. We think understood that. So we are trying to now write down the difference between EPF and ETF, right? So in that slide, you divided it into 2. One side is EPF, one side is ETF. Now suppose if the examiner asks you to compare these 2 welfare of employees, what are the things you need to write? You divided your slide into 2, EPF and ETF. What are the things you write at the first one? Simple. First one you write, first point, what? Employee Provident Fund. Act number 15 of 1980. Managed under employees. What is EPF stand for? If every time you get acronyms or abbreviations, you have to explain what is EPF stand for. EPF stand for Employee Provident Fund, and it is covered under Act of 15 of 1980. Whereas the other side of that column, what you need to write? You need to write employees. What is ETF? Employees Trust Board, covered under 46 of 19. First point. First difference. Okay. Right. Okay. You written down what is EPF, what is ETF. 2 column divided. You have to write what is EPF and what is ETF. Based on your previous slide, you can write. First point. Second point. Right? Second point, what you need to write. Now, who is contributed to EPF and who is contributed to ETF? I think you know. Right. Okay. Under EPF, you can write it is contributed. It's a fund, right? It's a fund. The fund is contributed by both employee and the employer in under EPF. How much? Employer 12%, employee how much? 8%. You can write contributed by both employee and employer. You can write down how much employer 12%, employee 8% from your salary. Say salary if you are lakh, 1 lakh, how much was contributed by your employer. Suppose your net salary is 1 lakh. So employer 12%. So 12,000. How much you are contributing? 8,000. right? Okay, it has to be deduct from your salary. So altogether 20,000 you are getting per month, right? Okay. Now remember, EPF is a superannuation fund. This is the money you are going to get when you are at the retirement, right? Okay. Okay. So money you are going to get when you are at the retirement. So right. Okay. Then I will explain to you. That second one, from ETF, who is contributing? ETF is contributed only by the employer. How much? 3%. Now this is the difference now. First, act. What is EPS stand for? What is ETF stand for? What are the act? Second, contributed by whom? Employer and employee. Employer is 12, employee is 8. Only ETF, who is contributed only? Employer is 3%. Now he's written three differences. Two differences. This. Third difference. What is the main objective of EPF? Right now. Objective. Main objective is to ensure is to ensure is to ensure under EPF is to ensure that an employee that an employee is to ensure that an employee gets a that an employee gets a lump sum payment get a lump sum payment get a lump sum payment in his or her retirement. So its objective have to have a happy life during their retirement. Right. Right. And the ETF you can write in term of benefits. In term benefits given to employee during their working life. During their working life. Maybe change their job, right? Every 5 years. But there, of course, you need to wait till your retirement once you reach to 55. But suppose you join some bank, work for 5 years, you join another bank, or maybe you can join, but you can take the bundles. While you're working, you can get the benefits. That's the ETF. Next important point. Who administered the EPF fund? You can say under EPF column, you can say administered by Commissioner of Labor. EPF fund is administered by Commissioner of Labor. EPF fund administered by Commissioner of Labor. Who manage the fund? The fund is managed by CBSN, Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Right? So the administered by someone else, management by someone else. But earlier, both are in the same place, but due to some reasons, right? It was changed to CBS. But as far as the ETF is concerned, both administered and managed by Employee Trust Board, Employee Trust Fund Board, Employee Trust Fund Board, Employee Trust Fund Board. But here EPF administered by Labor Commission, but managed by Central Bank. But ETF, the money and the administered and the managed by Trust Fund Board. Now, you can use to take a loan. EPF can obtain loans against EPF fund. Could obtain loans against EPF fund. For housing loan, you can obtain loans against EPF. And you cannot take loans against ETF balances. Right? Because maybe the short-term nature. You usually cannot take loan for ETF. Right? And also you can put, now you see how much the differences. You can put EPF is the large superannuation fund in Sri Lanka. Large superannuation fund in Sri Lanka is something around 2.4 trillion rupees. Huge amount, this fund. Right? EPF fund is large superannuation funds in Sri Lanka. Sometimes these people call security funds also. People are telling large superannuation funds in Sri Lanka, approximately around 2.4 trillion. But ETF is comparatively less, maybe around 200 billion also. Right? Okay? Right. But apart from these benefits, right, you may have other benefits. Now, ETF, you may have medical benefits, scholarship for O-level, A-levels like that. There may be a lot of benefits, interim benefits by both, right? ETF, interim benefits, scholarship exams, and then medical facilities, right? So things are clear. Now you know what is EPF and what is ETF very clearly. Okay, we'll take first what is EPFB, Employee Provident Fund, Act number 15 of 1958, ETF, Employee Trust Fund, 46 of 1980, achieved justice initiated by Mr. Raditha, right? And then the second one, it is contributory by both employee and employer. Employer 12%, employee 8%, whereas ETF only contributed by the employee. Employer is 3%. Right? You see the objective to ensure that you get the lump sum amount during your retirement and to benefit interim while every 5 years you can take. Then administered by Commissioner of Labour and managed by Central Bank of Sri Lanka, whereas ETF is fully administered and managed by that fund by the Employee Trust Fund Board. Right, and can obtain a loan against that, usually cannot obtain, and then the largest superannuation fund, and that's the largest, not the largest superannuation, around 200 odd billion, but here 2.3 trillion rupees, huge base. Okay, so these are the difference between EPF and ETF, right? Okay, then this another one, another topic. So we call job stress. Call job stress, right? So try to listen to that. It's a novel concept. Again, no questions asked from this about the job stress. Now let's look at it. What is this job stress? Right? Just look at it. What is this job stress? What do you think? Job stress is good or bad for an organization? Job stress, good or bad for the organization? Right? Now remember, because of this job stress, and this is the productivity and the level of stress. Level of stress. This side we call level of stress, and this axis called productivity. Now, it is estimated in USA because of the people job stress. Around 70 billion US dollars are losing every year to the economy because of job stress. Right? Now, I'm asked from you whether it's a job stress is good or bad, right? And it is scientifically proven because of you need to have a some stress, job stress. So once you go certain stress, your productivity increase, but up to some point, the productivity has come down. Right now, you see, if you put more stress to your job, your productivity increase. So therefore, from certain point, it comes down. Right? So therefore, remember, job stress is an important thing. Please draw this diagram, right? Right? Some areas, right? So you need some sort of a stress, right? Okay, right? Draw this one, right? Because you need some stress, right? Okay, right now I'll dictate, right? There should be a some amount of. There should be a some amount of. There should be a. There should be a some amount of stress. There should be a some amount of stress for workers. There should be a some amount of stress for workers. There should be a some amount of stress for workers to maintain their day-to-day activities. To maintain their day-to-day activities, which leads to productivity. Which leads to productivity. Now, sometimes the examiner can ask from you question like this: job stress is always not benefited to your organization. Are you agree with this statement? The examiner can ask for questions like this. The job stress is always bad for your organization. You agreed or not? So what may be the correct answer? First part, usually if your questions comes like that, if you say yes, no, you get 1 point. The balance points you're going to get it. You have to justify why you say whether yes or no. Then you say no. What is the answer here? Yes. Right? Yes. Then how to prove that? For that, you draw this diagram. You note that the productivity is going up with the increase of stress level. But some point it comes down. And that is not a good time. So therefore, so the so uh, therefore completely removal of job stress will not help to increase the overall product, right? Then you write under that next point. Therefore, now we write no, there should be a some sort of stress to workers to maintain their activities, which leads to productivity. Right. Next point, you can say, therefore, 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 complete removal, therefore, complete removal of job stress. Therefore, complete removal of job stress will not help to, will not help to. Therefore, the complete removal of job stress will not help to increase the overall productivity, not help to increase the overall productivity. But beyond certain point, the outcome has a beyond certain point of job stress, beyond the certain point of job stress, beyond the certain point of job stress, can have a can have a damaging effects, can have a damaging effect, can have a damaging effect, both for your organization as well as for employee. Right, right. Now, like grievances, I told you about. Now, why job stress taking place? Maybe due to if you don't have a proper job design, maybe due to a leadership style, maybe due to time management. So if you cannot manage your time, that can lead for job stress. අයි අද දුන්න කොටස අද කරගන්න බෑ. තමුන් දන්නේ කාලය පාලනය කරගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ නිකම්ම එනවා job stress එක. So one thing is proper job designing. The designing the job is too much of work for you to do, where you cannot manage. So that will lead to job stress. Or leadership style. හැමදේටම ඇඟිලි ගහන both sides. Right? So job stress comes. The leadership style. And improper time management or poor time management techniques. If you don't know how to manage your time, which one you give the priority. So that is a job stress issue. So why you are not managing your time? You don't know how to prioritize your issues. So that's another issue for job stress. Right? Okay. Right? So these are the leading things. So what is the final outcome of everything? Absenteeism, labor turnover, low productivity, and also your medical improve. Your medical cost also improve. Can you remember we learned under why we need to have a proper health and safety administrative system in your organization? Because that lead to occupational health and occupational diseases. Ultimately, you improve your medical cost. Right? So all these factors will contribute to job stress. Then you see how to avoid job stress. That is why some organization conducting some yoga programs to bring the mental satisfaction level, bring the mental order, right? A bhavana program, right? Meditations programs, right? Exercises, eating habits, mentoring. So some of the action you can take to reduce your job stress, right? And also, it is not in your syllabus categorically, specifically mentioned, but we need to know because the impact of job stress for an employee can contribute to the final bottom line of your organization. That is why we need to understand what is job stress. It is necessary. To what extent is necessary, right? How to overcome this job stress. What are the methodology you can use this to avoid, right? So it is look after yourself. That's only best solution for job stress. So your dieting, your exercises, your some meditations cases, all are some remedies to solve your job stress problem. Right. So with this, so we are just completed. For the last month, we did from HR. So we started with why HRM is important. Just to recall it quickly, why why human resources is important for an organization. What is the definition of human resources? How we differ from personal management to the human resource management. And today people are talking about not only the personal management to HRM management, we are talking about strategic human resource management. What is the difference between these three, right? We discuss what are the differences between these three. And then we discuss the objectives, the strategic objectives, and the purpose of learning, strategy, human resource management. And then we discuss what are the unique characteristic of a human resource when you're compared with other resources. And then we explain the functions of HR, starting from job designing, job analysis, two things under job analysis. What is the two things? Job description and job specification. What is the difference between these two? Based on that, what we are going to recruit the people. We need to plan. That is called human resource planning. We discuss why we need to plan our human resources. What is the steps involved in that? Then after the human resource planning, what we are trying to do, we are going to recruit people. Then we need to select the people. What is the difference between recruitment and selection? Recruitment is collecting candidates. Selection, select the best out from the best candidates. And then once you select, we have to hire him to the organization. So what are the two documents we'll give? Confidentiality and the customer chart. And then after that, what we try to do, we have to give them a immediate training. That is, we call inductions, orientations. Orientation to your environment, job environment, and to the job. What are the things you're going to teach you at the induction training? And then while you're working, we need to see whether you are working or not. For that, we need to evaluate your performance. And we discuss what are the objective of evaluating performance. Identify training need, identify the effectiveness of the training, to decide your salaries, whether decide your rewards, everything. Right? And then, based on your performance evaluations, we discuss the reward management. Right? Then we discuss what is the difference between salary and the pay. What are the reward management techniques you are using? Right? And then we discuss training and development. What is the difference between training and development? What is learning? What are the training methods? What are the learning methods? How to develop a person? We discuss so many things under that very simply. And what are the performance evaluation methods available? What are the evaluators' problems? Appraisers' problem? Halo effect, recency effect, average effect, strictness. Can you remember all the issues when somebody is going to evaluate you? And then after the evaluations, after the training, so we discuss. So we need to manage you, whether you are behaving well or not in your organization. That is today. We discuss discipline management. What is discipline management? Why it is important? Right? And what is the discipline manager process? What is uh, offenses, serious offense, and what is uh, not serious offense? Right? So we discuss defensive or disciplinary management. Then after that, we discuss the relationship with the employees and the employer and the management. That is called labor relationship. What is labor relationship and why it is important for an organization? And then after that, we discuss the tri-party arrangement between employer, employee, and the government. Why? Why we need to have a tri-party arrangement? To have an industrial peace. Why industrial peace is important? We discuss all these things, right? Then after that, we discuss about the grievances. We we discuss discipline, take actions against the employee. Then what actions the employees takes against the management? That is grievances handling. So what is grievance? Why it is important? How to identify? What is the methodology used? All things we discuss on the grievances. What are the causes for grievances? Some people are really feel as something injustice to him, but some people are really, some people are imagining. Boss මට සලකන්නේ අර මගේ අම්මලා සමාන පුතු හිතනවා ෆැමිලි එක තුන් හතරක් ඉන්නකොට අම්මා හුඟක් ආදරේ පොඩි පුතාට ලොකු අයියටයි මට නෙවෙයි ඒ මම හිතන් ඉන්නවා maybe not like that, but I feel it. So what are the causes for grievances? Job working condition, personal department issues, personal reasons. There may be a grievance can take place due to how to avoid this, right? And then we discuss after the grievances, we discuss the job movements. So movements, how can you say job movements? Employee movements, basically we call. Common employee movements. One is promotion, promote to your top position, lateral promotion. Then maybe transfers due to policy decision, maybe some disciplinary action, certain reason. And sometimes maybe demotion, some disciplinary action you are demoted. That is employee movements. And sometimes layoff terminate you due to various reasons again. Maybe due to now this coronavirus, some people was terminated, not recruited, right? Like that. So then after that, we discuss other laws, personal welfare protection laws. So where we discuss different type of laws. Then we discuss about the employee provident fund, employee trust fund, industrial dispute act, shop and office act, and things like that. And we discuss in the greater length what is the difference between EPF and ETF. And then we move into discuss the final part is what you call job stress. Why it is important for an organization, how to avoid that, all those things, right? So thereby we just completed the HR part. So next week we are going to start the final sections of FCA. Is the marketing aspect of this thing. I think any question, usually the question number 3 in your question paper, and maybe 1 or 2 questions from your first question comes under the HR. And very interesting. I told you there's no any other paper will ask about HRA. Only you can learn in these either DBF and IABF about the HR only for financial crimes. No any other subjects talk about your HRA, right? Okay. I think please go through very easy. I think you understood the HRA. We try to do some questions, right? Okay. Right. Now we have another 10 minutes to till 3 o'clock. So we will discuss. I told you last time, please ready with these answers, these questions. And I think right questions is right. Right. So we'll take March 2017 paper. Right. March 2017 paper. Right. We try to do that March 2000 paper quickly. Right. Take the first question. Answer the following March 2017. I think you have, I told you to answer, but I will explain the answers with you, right? Okay, 2000, March 2017. March 2017. Okay, first one. The name of the present financial ombudsman in Sri Lanka. What may be the correct answer? A, B, C, D. Answer is, who is the first one? First financial ombudsman in Sri Lanka is one Mr. Walter Laddu Hettu. He is the first financial ombudsman. After, usually I told you the ombudsman period is 4 years, right? 2 years, every year, 2 years, you will renew, right? So, Walter Laddu Hettu, the first financial ombudsman. The second financial ombudsman is Mr. Mapa. Third ombudsman, Mr. Ranaraja. And the present guy, the present ombudsman is sorry, Anand Kumar Das. Right? Anand Kumar. Right. Simple, right? So we learn all these things. So how many of you have put the correct answer? I hope you all have done. Then the second one. A dual control is maintained in banks. We discussed that also under protection of customers. But to prevent fraud. There's the same question came earlier. At that time, there's answers given to prevent irregularities. So the answer for this one is what you call the answer for that is basically we call them as to prevent fraud, right? So that is the dual control. Now dual control mean, in banks is a very familiar internal control mechanism. So you must have a two, open for your what you call safe. You must have a two people, right? Remember, the bank is full of dual control. So what is the main objective? Is for prevent any fraud or prevent any irregularities, right? Right. Okay. Third one, a customer cannot nominate a person of choice. We discussed there's a very advantage all the banks is having the nomination facility. What is the act covering under that? Under 50 Civil Procedure Ordinance, Section 544. And I told you this is good for your law subject as well. Okay. Okay. Now, if I ask you, pertaining to the previous question, what may be the one dual control? What are the other dual control? Right? One thing what is the one dual control? Make it 7-day compulsory leave, segregations of duties. That means you must have a job description, proper description. Next one, what is that? Job rotation, right? Job rotation, clear reporting line. So all things will facilitate dual control, right? It's a control mechanism. Other control mechanism. What are the other control mechanism? Segregations of duties. That for that will facilitate job description to segregate. Second one, job rotation. You want to keep the same guy. The next one, compulsory 7-day annual leave and reporting lines. Those are some of the other internal control mechanisms you can use for internal control purposes of your bank. Right. A customer cannot nominate a person of choice for, remember, the immediately the things comes, if nomination comes, you have to remember what is the ordinance or what is the act governing. Civil Procedure Ordinance 544. They talk, you can cover, you can nominate anybody. We discussed a lot of cases, right? Remember, we discussed a lot of incidents, right? So only think. So that supersede what? Remember, the nomination supersede your last will. අන්තිම කැමති පත්‍රයත් අභිබවා යන facility එකක් තමයි මේ nomination. අන්තිම කැමති පත්‍රයේ තාත්තගේ බූදලේ ඔක්කොම ලියලා තිබ්බත් තාත්තා nomination දීලා තියෙනවා නම් අපි තුමු තාත්තා මැරෙනකොට රුපියල් මිලියන 20ක් අන්තිම කැමති පත්‍රයේ ලියලා තියෙන්නේ ලොකු පුතාට. හැබැයි රුපියල් මිලියන 10ක FDs ලියලා තියෙනවා පුතා පොඩි පුතාට නොමිනේට් කරලා. එතන ලාස්ට් විල් එකේ ලොකු පුතාට ඒවා තිබ්බට අයිතිය යන්නේ කාටද පොඩි පුතාට because you know the reason is Civil Procedure Act Ordinance, Civil Procedure Ordinance 544 clearly expressed that a nominee person or nominee is have the rights which supersede the last will, right? So there are some accounts you cannot nominate according to this. What is the account you can nominate? Current account. Only the current account. This is a very famous example. Other safety deposit locker facilities, savings balances, fixed deposit balances can be nominated. Why current? Because current account cannot have the ownership. It has the bank rights also, right? Because if you take an overdraft, bank can collect the deposits. So that is why it is not covered. Right. Next, fourth question. Process of identifying, assessing, developing leaderships under human resource management is called. I told you another important thing is identify and develop a leadership position of the future position of the organization. Now today, right? So commercial bank CEO is retiring. Who is going to come next? So they have identified who is going to be the next. Now think about the Sri Lankan politics. Who is going to be the next next leader of UNP? That's the issue. Why they don't have a succession plan? If you really say is after I am retiring, this particular person is going to be the next leader of that particular party, his all problems are not there. So how you call that plan? Succession plan. Who is going to be the success? Who is going to be the successor? According to the central bank, preparations of succession plan for every organization is a compulsory thing. So therefore, what is the answer? Process of identifying, assessing, and developing the leadership under human resource management is called not human resource planning. It is succession planning, because succession planning is a part and parcel of human resource planning, right? Okay, so that's simple as that. The last one, the most secured product that could be recommended for a customer to invest his retirement fund. Now, I told you always look at it type of person, type of product. Now, the retired guys, the money he's going to get is the last amount, the fund, retirement benefits. The fund he's going to get the last. Now, he's going to save this element, save this fund for rest of their life. So then he look at it. What is the most safest financial instrument? And mind you again, senior guys or a customer, retired guy, is usually what type of person? He's a risk averse guy. He's not going to take the risk because that is the money he's going to get for your life. Nobody is going to come. You have to assume that. So he's maybe a risk averse. He's not going to be a risk lover. So he's make use of his money for more secured financial product. So out of all these products, what is the most secured financial product? What is the most gilted product? What is the less risk product? So we have learned out of all, none other than treasury bills. I think you, out of 5, you have at least I think you may get all 5 points, right? Okay, so today we stop from here. So and the balance 2018-19 we are going to discuss, and mind you, and we will start next Sunday the treasury no marketing aspects of financial, right? Okay, so stop today and we will see you on next Sunday during the month of September. See you. Thank you very much, and we will see you. If you have any questions, please, as I told you, just put down. You know my number, and please call me and send me a SMS. Number is not 777-864-202. Thank you very much. So we'll see you on next Sunday.